podcasts and YouTube where people are talking about writing process to learn. That can be really helpful. If you know real people who have books, talk to them. They have a lot of really great advice. I actually had several people I knew, even my brother with part of book marketing, he's giving me good advice. And figure out what works for you. Everybody is different. And last, don't forget, and this one applies to me the most, done is better than perfect. Those are my tips.
Hi, I'm Henika Watkins, Porter, speaker, coach, author of Podcast Power, inviting you to listen to the Entrepreneur Secrets podcast, brought to you by C. Ruth Taylor, best-selling indie author and the Caribbean's most trusted voice on entrepreneurship. Get ready to dominate entrepreneurship.
It's episode 216 of the Entrepreneur Secrets podcast. And as promised last week, we are closing out. It is our season finale for our annual break. And we're interviewing one of the winners of the Small Book Big Impact Challenge, who is passionate about fitness. She's also the winner of the BambuSparks Legacy Publishing Prize. And that's Suzanne A. Muir. And she released her Amazon best-selling book, FAB Fitness Over 40, earlier this year. Today I have with me Associate Professor Suzanne A. Muir, who is a university educator, researcher, and advocate for vibrant living. With an academic career spanning over 2 decades in computing, teaching topics from research methods to tech ethics, her primary research focuses on digital health. She co-designs technology-based interventions to increase physical activity and manage chronic disease. This expertise fuels her personal mission to live and promote what she calls an amazing life. She brings this mindset of active, inspired well-being directly to her community, having motivated friends, followers, and family to achieve their health and fitness goals. Suzanne is the 2025 winner of BambuSparks' inaugural Legacy Publishing Prize, valued at $3,000 US. The book she entered was FAB Fitness Over 40, Live Well, Feel Good, and Look Great, which subsequently became an Amazon bestseller. In 2022, she also won the 30-day rocket writing competition, later renamed the Small Book Big Impact competition in 2025. She was one of the winners in the fiction category. The winning fiction work is titled The Naked Forest. She also has several upcoming works, which she will tell us about later. And I also participated in her 90-day fitness transformation program and lost 8 pounds. Without further ado, let's welcome Suzanne to the show. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for that amazing welcome.
All right, so it's so good to have you. We've been journeying together for a long time.
Very
But
long.
let's start a little bit more on the fitness side, because you have a very amazing, inspiring story. Tell us about your journey into fitness.
Okay, well, as a little girl, like maybe most people, I had to run. I was not good at sprinting. So I found the Olympics, the first time I ever watched it, like very inspiring. If I could have found any sport to compete, you would have seen me there representing Jamaica. But unfortunately, it seemed as if anyway, I never found my sport. But when I was a child, I started swimming and I loved it. And so I swam from I was about 9, no, from 9 till 18, both for Y Speedos and for my high school. And then when I went to college, so I was fit. I was very, very active. And when I went to college, I was not fast enough for the swim team there. So I became less active. And I gained, I guess they call it the college freshman 15. And I found myself just not feeling so great. Basically, subsequent to right after college is when I decided that I needed to change my life and get fit again. and I started doing some swimming and some weight training and the like. And really, it was when I got back to Jamaica. So I went to the US to study. When I got back to Jamaica, my parents were actually walking. I went walking with my parents. My parents were at that, sorry, as a teenager, I went walking with my parents sometimes just for fun because they walked. And I was obviously fitter than my parents, as you would expect. I am now in my 20s, late 20s, and walking with my parents, and my parents are walking faster than me. And I thought, not to them, to myself, I need to put an instant stop to this. This needs to be corrected immediately. Of course, I got straight on that program, and in a few weeks, I was now fitter than my parents. So then I showed up at a gym. I came home in October. So now 2 months later, I had already sorted out my cardiovascular fitness. I appeared in a gym and signed up. And since I had done a program in weight training in college, I had the basics of knowing what to do. And that's the first time I got serious about weight training. And that was a whole adventure by itself because the gym actually told me initially that I first need to do cardio. I'm like, that's what I was doing for the last 2 months. But from that date, and that's almost like almost 3 decades, I have been seriously, without exception, into fitness. So I was into sport as a child, wishing I was an Olympian, never made it. There was a short time in my 20s where I fall completely off the wagon. And then I got back into fitness. However, I've had my weight loss has been up and down, and that's a story by itself. But I found for me, anytime I'm fit, I feel so much better. So for me, fitness is part and parcel of a good life.
I love it. Now, as you talk about walking with your parents, and your parents were out walking you, for me,
Yes.
it's worse than that. It's my grandmother.
Was that walking you?
Visiting my grandmother and her going up the hill and
Mhm.
bending and doing all kind of things that,
Mhm.
making me, who is more than half her age, look bad. That was
Right.
part of the turning point, and it remains for me one of the motivating factors.
Yeah, my paternal grandfather, God rest his soul, when I was a fit teenager and we were walking up a hill, which I was walking fast. He was walking so fast that I had to run to keep up. So I said, Grandpa, I have to run. He said, but you're young, run. So I had to run. I could run. So I had to run to
Yes.
keep up. And he died at 102. Obviously,
Wow.
his fit lifestyle benefited him. My 2 cents of interpretation. So yes, fitness
Yes.
exercise is medicine. And I suggest that everybody, even if you don't love moving, find the right kind of movement for you and make it work for you in
I
ways that
love that.
can be suitable for you.
Very good. So you have a history of interest in this thing and you've been fascinated about it. So it
Yes.
is no surprise, therefore, that your recent publication is on fitness. Talk
Right.
to us about FAB Fitness over 40 and
Right.
why
And
you
why?
chose that
So
age group.
yeah, so I initially started thinking of writing books because when I had, as I told you, I lost quite a bit of weight. It was over 30 pounds. And people kept asking me how I lost it. And it was so many questions again and again. I said, I put it in a book. So I didn't have this long time dream of writing a book. I even had people as a child telling me I would write books. And I thought, no way. Women over 40, the men I knew said, no, why are you leaving us out? So that's why it's not just women. So the literature, two reasons why it's over 40. There tends to be, 40 tends to be the age that people actually realize that they need to pay attention to fitness.
Yes.
It's focused. I have a more of a heart for women because women across the globe and in Jamaica where I live are more sedentary than men. So women, as you know, as you may know, if you are less active, you are more prone to a whole series of diseases. So the reason why over 40 is because it's a wake-up call for people who are over 40. The kinds of issues for people over 40 are different. So somebody issues about injury prone and disease is not as much of an issue for people under 40. So I wrote a book just for people over 40 so they could see how it could help them in particular.
Right. So you have a particular niche, as they would call it, for this book, and it's for both men and women over 40. Talk to us about the writing journey, because you've been doing academic writing for quite a while. How difficult or easy was it to move from academic writing to writing this fitness book?
All writing is challenging in my opinion. So yeah, like I tend to believe in outlining as part of the process. I don't think that you necessarily have to have the whole outline finalized before you do all the writing. But I think having some of the outline is a good starting point, whether you're doing academic and or writing for a general audience. I think so much of writing is editing. So it is you need to have a inspiration for why you're writing. Otherwise, it's very easy to give up. And then I tend to be somebody who has really high standards. So when I look at something that somebody else thinks is okay, I go, this is horrible. So there are different skills, and if you persevere, all skills, unless you are, I actually think that almost all skills can be learned. So it's a skill that can be learned. So I don't even know which one is harder. It really depends on your propensity. But
Okay.
they are different. So the skill of writing, academic writing, is different than the skill of writing for a general audience. And it's good to have feedback from people. You need editors, you need potential readers to give you feedback.
I like it because, like, with the academic writing, it's a lot. Having just finished my dissertation, a lot of citation and this and that, and it can be quite, intimidating at times and challenging.
Right. And as you might have noticed in this book, I literally have sure way over I think I have over 80 citations in the book, Sorry, this book, FAB Fitness Over 40, it has many citations. So about about a third of the people who have bought it have said to me, wow, it's so much research. I mean, with positive, they're like, oh, you need so much research. I'm like, well, I wanted to show that the a lot of the content is based on research. So by the way, what I really like about this book that I feel proud about is I not only use research, but I also use my creativity. So I have a lot of acronyms and I use my personal experience in there to come up with some of the insights. So it's a combination of experience, creativity, and science to craft that book.
And I think what it does is that this book brings your passion and experience together. So there's a convergence. You love research. And so what sets your fitness book apart is that research element, and you have the practical aspects of it. So let me ask you, if I were to take up this book, FAB Fitness Over 40, could I read it and come up with my own exercise fitness regime just from reading it? How would this book benefit the reader without you actually giving away too much of what is in the book?
Okay, so yes, it could benefit the reader in many ways. So the thing is, the book has several sections. So there's a mindset section. There's a section that's really basically giving you going through strength training, cardiovascular, stretching, giving the framework for each of those elements, tell you why you need to fit it to your own lifestyle. So provided that you don't have a major medical condition, I have to say it that way. So if you don't have a major medical condition, yes, you could come up with a regime from reading this book. So what I advise in the book, and I advise right now as we're talking on the podcast, that if you have a major medical issue, in fact, if you're over 40, you really should see a physician if you've not been active for a long time. If you're already an active person, it's not needed right away, just in case you have a cardiovascular condition or something else. Aside from that, if you're somebody who's active and you don't have, you know, any disease, then it's fine to go ahead and make yourself a exercise program. But I have a whole chapter called Exercise is Medicine, and that chapter actually gives research-based tips for all of those. But depending on what you have, it might make sense to have a one session with a trainer. But what you actually would have here is more than what most trainers know. You'll be able to tell the trainer, oh, I know that these are the things that are actually most needed because here it is in the book. You can look it up, but all the research is there. So I would say that my book goes very far. So, right, my book has several diagrams, and one of them that I like is Vilpa. So, in doing research for this book, I discovered this concept. It's a very simple concept. There's something called exercise snacks, and Vilpa is a fancy way of talking about exercise snacks. So stands for vigorous, intermittent lifestyle physical activity. So during the day, somebody can choose to do short exercise snacks. And if you do that on a regular basis, it will reduce your risk of real serious diseases like cancer and heart disease. So only 4.4 minutes of fast exercise every day will reduce your cancer risk by as much as 30%, and cardiovascular death, which is heart disease, by 34%. And if you just increase it to 5 to 6 minutes, it's as much as 40 and 50%. In other words, less than 10 minutes of fast exercise that you just integrate into your life. So we have examples like pole vaulting, housework. So how they did this particular research project was it was in London with a lot of people. So many people? Over 25,000 people, real people, just going about their everyday life. They compared the real data. The people who just were active actually died less of cancer and heart disease than those who were not. So here's the takeaway, everybody. You just need to start. You go to work, there's a staircase. Instead of the elevator, walk or run up the staircase. You take in the bus, you get off one thing before and walk a little longer, and part of it you could actually walk fast. I mean, everybody has to be where they are. Everybody can decide starting today to start integrating more vigorous activity to reduce your risk of the two of the biggest killers in the world. Isn't that great news, Ruth?
Yes, I really agree.
Great news. So I personally just recently decided that my strength training right now is really good. I didn't like my current cardiovascular, so I'm not exactly doing an exact Wilma. I just started that inspired by my own book. I decided to craft my own, I'm being serious, craft my own new version of, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to train for a program. I said, I don't need to go all out. I just need to do a small version inspired by the information in my own book. Because as you get older, you have to realize you have less time. What can work for you? And I said, okay, let me just apply the concepts in the book to myself. It's all a matter of being willing. And what I also would recommend is if you can find a partner, and by a partner, I mean a friend, a family member, anybody, it could be a person who in the same mindset, that the two of you could read the book, or you'd read the book and you tell the other person don't even have to read the book. But if you're the kind of person that needs somebody to accompany you on the journey, great. If you're somebody who, like in my case, what helps me with people is that I have found that the fact that people have been so inspired by me. So you would have mentioned All Amazing at the beginning of the interview. So how did I come up with this All Amazing initially? People kept asking me, so I formed a Facebook group. I just think it needed to be called something unusual. So I came up with the term All Amazing. As it turned out, I'm not the first person to come up with that term, but maybe I'm the only one who uses it in fitness. So I created this group, All Amazing Fitness Transformation, to just focus on all can be about wonder and amazing moments, and life has a maze, circles. So I'm saying that in the middle of crazy life, you can have moments of awe and wonder that can be transforming through fitness. That was my concept, and so I have a website, amazinglife.com. And so that's the basis of the concept behind the whole movement that I want to start, which partly through this book.
And I like the snacks. I have a picture here of some of the exercise snacks. So I want to bring that up so that our viewers, those who are watching on YouTube, you can hear more about some of the exercise snacks that you can have throughout the day and throughout the week. And here are some examples. These are fun exercise snacks. So we have, for example, 10 squats during a break.
Yes.
I've
So
been
you
doing
could
that.
you
What are
could
some of the other snacks?
right. So you could also walk fast to your bus or to a car or to whatever kind of transportation you're taking. You could dance anywhere. So you could be at work and decide to shut the office door if you don't like anybody to see and dance with or without music. You can dance when you're making breakfast in the morning for your children, for yourself. You could climb the stairs, as I mentioned earlier. Essentially, anything that is just a quick movement is an exercise snacks. So it can be defined from 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
I love that. I
That's
love
it.
that.
Okay.
So I've been wanting to help you to publish a book for, I think it's been almost a decade. It took me also a decade to write, and I have my first book published.
Mhm.
The question is, why did it take you so long to create this meaningful asset, given that you love fitness? This is your passion. I believe you have a master's in, is it health and fitness
In
as
public
well?
health. In two certifications, they're no longer up to date. So I actually have two certifications as a fitness trainer, and then I did a health coach with ACE, all for fun. And I somewhere in the middle of that I did a master's of public health. Can you believe this for fun? So I have three masters, and the public health one definitely was for fun. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it for real. I know that sounds strange to anybody here, but I actually enjoy learning. So why did it take long? It took long because I did not have a clear driving vision for how I would use it. Right at this point, honestly, I am hoping over the next 3 to 10 years to become renowned in the health and fitness field. And if God willing, to be healthy all the way until I die, to be working as a consultant slash speaker in this area. So one of the things that will build viability to be that is to have a series of books.
Right.
I never had that
Yeah.
clear vision earlier. And so there
Okay.
was no, for me, I'm trying to tell you, I didn't have this drive to publish a book. Like it wasn't a big drive for me. And I also wanted to have a book that I would be proud of. And at the end of it, there's one or two little things that could be different, but I'm actually proud of this book. So maybe it could have been earlier, but I think I know have a better idea of how to publish books. I realize that it's no because book marketing is not simple. It's a lot of learning. So the book marketing, I'm quite overwhelmed. But it really for me has been if I can publish a book, anybody can publish a book. I have to say it that way. People might say, why do I say it that way? Because everybody has obstacles of their own kind. So
Yeah.
I had my own obstacles and I eventually overcame them.
Right. So for the person who is struggling, because like for Cheryl as well, it took another winner of the SBBI challenge. It took her about 7 years.
Mhm.
Last week, Luchelle, another winner on the podcast, it took her 17 years.
Okay.
And it took me 10 years to finally put pen to paper. And like I said, I've been wanting to see you publish a book on fitness for about a decade. For the person who is struggling, whether it's 2 years, 10 years,
Mhm.
uh, Can you give us some tips to help them cross that hurdle?
So, okay, here's the thing. One of the things that I think is really important is to reframe who you are as a person. So, if you start to think of yourself as a writer, then you will write. So, yes, you could say you also need to have like time to write, but you need to change thinking who you are and see yourself as a writer and an aspiring author. I think it's important. Obviously,
Yes.
you need to take consistent action. So whether I found for me that when I was in the challenge and I wrote every day, that was very helpful. But I would say either join a challenge or every week, at least once a week, take some action. But it has to be consistent unless you're on vacation or ill, or you're never going to make progress. It's obvious. Another massive tip is join a writing group. So whether you join a online writing group or a paid writing group, that whether it's free or paid, that definitely helped me. So I was a part of Ruth's Here's Entrepreneur Secret, and Ruth, because it took so long to get it, I'm going to say it did help me, not on her timetable, but on mine. So being a part of a writing group, I think can help. Both the challenge and the group for publishing can help you. So I would strongly recommend that. If you're stuck, you can journal about why you're stuck, because even journaling is writing. So write. The goal to write is to write. Yeah. Don't just and then listen to other people. So go to podcasts and YouTube where people are talking about writing process to learn. That can be really helpful. If you know real people who have books, talk to them. They have a lot of really great advice. I actually had several people I knew, even my brother with part of book marketing, he's giving me good advice, and figure out what works for you. Everybody is different. And last, don't forget, and this one applies to me the most, done is better than perfect. Those are my tips.
I think those were excellent, Suzanne. So
Mhm.
now this book can become an excellent business card. When I did your fitness transformation program, I was impressed by the research, the practical tips and everything. And that for me, understanding the why of what I was doing really, really
Mhm.
mattered. And I believe your book delves into that. So how is this book going to become a business card or a transformational guide? How are you planning to use it now
Okay.
that we have this asset?
Well, in several ways. So yes, I have a few stories right now. So this all it was a very small group that were in that challenge, that you're in the 90-day challenge. All three of you had different transformational stories. One client was a 70-year-old who she got more fit. And since the challenge ended, she read this book after the challenge, and then now decided to join the gym because she realized her particular illness, that there is some value. So she's now taking it to a whole nother level because she read the book, interestingly. And then another client, she really honestly did not know that anything beyond cardiovascular was really, she already saw a physiotherapist, but she didn't know about all the different categories of exercise. And she's like, how did she not know this? But literally, she has now integrated more types of exercise in her life because of my book. So yes, I can take those stories now and have a combination of challenges, uh, let me see, what am I going to do? So I'm going to have challenges for people. Some will be free, some will be paid. And my goal is to start both a free movement. So in my mind, with fitness, each person can reach at least one other person. So I want to use this kind of book to inspire people to inspire other people. In addition to that, I want to be able to have coaching that is online, perhaps face to face too. So in the past, I've actually had a whole series of weight loss and fitness online coaching. So I'd want to do that in the future because I have a full-time job. I'm trying to figure out how to juggle. So I see it right now as more opportunities for speaking. So first, I would do free speeches and also paid speaking engagements. Hopefully, in the paid speaking engagement, I would
Yeah.
also be able to sell the book at those
Yes.
engagements, obviously. But in the big run, I would say things like having a fitness retreat that is like upscale, for people who have the money for that kind of thing. You could come on vacation to Jamaica, where I live, or where not, and you could come and you do a combination of fun fitness adventures, and get some fitness in, and people like my brother go, why would you want to do that? But there's something for everybody. So I see this being many kinds of opportunities in the short and long run. And one more thing, we'll see if it's going to happen. I do have an interest in possibly doing some research using the book to show that it actually has an impact on real people. So I have a particular idea that I'm thinking of doing some research using the book to show that there's actually a difference when people use the book for people over 40, obviously.
So
That's
well
that's
done.
what would be great, it's 12 chapters. So what I would like to do when I have any more in the future is maybe to have a 12, it could be less, but up to 12-week transformation where we could actually go through all 12 chapters as part
Yeah.
of the coaching model.
It,
So
it, it should match because 12 weeks is 90 days, right?
right. So
So
it turned
it
out to be
can
a really
work.
good, it really turned to be a good model.
Yeah, I love that. So this is just one. You have several books coming up, and one of those is not a nonfiction book. It is the book that you entered for the Small Book Big Impact Challenge. It's a fiction book. I read it and I loved it. The Naked Forest. Could you talk to us about that and the other books?
Well, what happened is that I decided for the fun, well, okay. Why did I write that fiction book? For two reasons. So I wrote it because I literally wanted to win a challenge. As a child, I won lots of things when I was in school. And when I saw that all the nonfiction challenges were already won, I said, okay, let me try writing a fiction book. As a child, I read lots of fiction books. So it was right after Hurricane Melissa, which had devastated a whole big section of Jamaica. And I was concerned about young people. So I thought, wouldn't it be good to have a book for young people to give hope? So I wrote a book. I think the title might need to, not the cover. I actually love the cover, but there's a possibility that the title might need to change. But anyway, I wrote a book that the idea is uh protagonist, the main person, she would she is a computer whiz, and right after a hurricane she works out a plan to be able to get the items being donated from abroad to people in need in a in a in an efficient way. And the challenge there is that Batman decides to get in her way as part of, and it was my first attempt at writing fiction. We'll see how good it goes, but it was fun. It was a fun, and I basically did it in what two, I think it was about 2 days. Now I did use AI as generative AI as an assistant. But at the end of it, all the ideas were mine. And that's part of the reason why I haven't published it for two reasons. One is because, um, in my opinion, generative AI is not yet good enough to take anything it does. And you have to do everything yourself. So it can help you, but you still have to do a lot of work. And as I mentioned earlier, I have many other books that have priority over that one. But it was really fun. It was really fun working it out and thinking it through. And it was a fun experience. And I
What
do.
about the next? Is there a next fitness book? All right, so you're not quite ready to publish this novella, but at the back of Fab Fitness over 40, there are some upcoming books. And I know one of them is about transforming yourself with resistance and band strength with Jason Welch. Talk to us about that briefly, and you can mention the other books that you're promoting in Fab Fitness Over 40, which is a brilliant way to get people prepared for what's next.
Right. So the reason why I currently work out with weights and resistance bands. So for example, I do pull-ups and I'm not able to do a full pull-up, so I use resistance bands to help me with that. And I use it for a few things myself, but I do a lot of weight training for my resistance. The reason why we're doing a book on resistance bands because it's the least expensive way to get strength training in. So I live in Jamaica where a lot of people don't want to be spending a lot of money on exercise. And so we believe that this will be a very timely book for people who are like, I can't afford the gym. I can't afford to go out and buy weights. You can't well, you can say you can't afford, but it's not much to buy some strength bands. And so I think it's a timely adventure to have that kind of book on the market for not just Jamaicans, for anybody who is interested. And yes, there are some more books in this area, but most of the books like this tend to be for people over 60. So we're going all the way down to people over 40.
Okay.
And another book that's upcoming to move would be focused on fitness for the younger crowd. So I'm hoping, so at my high school the other day, I went to St. Andrew High School for girls, just turned 100, as in my high school, just turned 100. And I'm hoping, I was talking to the PTA president a few weeks ago. They had 5K walks. They're hoping to have more in the future. I'm hoping that we can get more high school children, especially girls, more involved in movement. And so this would be a very, very short book because we don't expect the young people to be. So this would be a really quick, easy read. As you can see now, why I'm not as gung-ho about the fiction book right now because I don't think I have the skill to finish it. But yeah, that's where I am right now.
All right. So we see the entrepreneur unfolding with the fitness, and I'm so happy that you're not just covering those over 40, but you're including the youth. Having presented all of this, how
Mhm.
can we get in touch with you, whether to get the book, have you speak, or join your next fitness program, or just follow you online for more fitness tips?
Okay, I have a website. So my website is Amazing Life. So that's all amazing, AWEMAZING life, amazinglife.com. I have a website. I'm on Facebook as my name, Suzanne A. Muir. I'm on Instagram, which I don't go on very much, also as Suzanne A. Muir. I'm actually on LinkedIn as well with my name, Suzanne Muir. Right now, you can get the book on Amazon, both ebook and you can order the print book, the ebook, the paperback. And yes, I do have physical copies. And so at the moment to get the book, you'd actually have to contact me. You could contact me either by WhatsApp or by email. My email is really easy if you can remember my name. So my email is my name, Suzanne.a.muir@gmail.com. So you can email me, Suzanne, Susan, .a.muir@gmail.com. And if you live in Jamaica, I can find out you can either come to me or I could post or we can ship it to you.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Suzanne, for sharing about your fitness journey and this book that I know is timely and perhaps will be an evergreen book because this is a subject that matters to all of us. And especially as we get older, we're going to need something like this to stay fit. Thanks for joining the podcast.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me, and all the best with your fitness journey too.
Thank you. I trust that you found this season's end episode inspiring and insightful, and you will go out and get this book, FAB Fitness Over 40. Share it with your friends and join Suzanne's community and perhaps her next fitness program, but certainly get the book. I personally have ordered my book and I'm looking forward to having it as my fitness Bible, so to speak. And I encourage you to do the same. When I return, I'll tell you all about graduation and some of my adventures during the break. This is Ruth Taylor reminding you of making many books. There is no end. So go pen it to win it and dominate entrepreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.